Thank you, Reverend Angie, for that wonderful meditation. Okay. Now it is time to introduce our wonderful speaker, very knowledgeable and a lot of information over the years, Reverend David.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I have gratitude for being wonderful. You know, when I first heard this topic, I went through my memory and said, "What is gratitude?" And I went through it, and my memory started talking to me, of the things that I felt really honored about and appreciated about, and one of the things that came up when I was in the Army, I took a boat ride to Korea, and when I got off the boat, I was back 5,000 years ago, and so I felt, boy, we have it really good. There was no electricity, there's no televisions. All there was people walking on these rice paddies with honey buckets in them, which was manure. And if you get behind one of them, you had to walk. You couldn't, because there's no way to get around them and everything. So I appreciated that we didn't have to use that honey buckets anymore and everything. And then what I started doing in there is that, well, if gratitude is an appreciation, I feel it's probably important that I start appreciating myself. And so I said, what in the world do I have to appreciate myself with? Because there's quite a few things that I did that I wasn't appreciated that I did and everything. But the lessons that we learn through our life, one of the main things that we can do about learning to know ourselves is to know what not to do, what not to think, what not to say, and everything. And I found that was quite a project to do, and everything. Because we're a creature of habit, and as we are a creature of habit, anytime you created a habit, it took an effort to create that habit, and habits are creation. So I started when I came to the chapel and everything. I started to what did I really know about myself, and so then I was in my classes. I was saying, no, what happened in 1969, and things started popping up and everything like this, and I didn't feel too much of an appreciation at that. But then I found out that there was quite a bit of appreciation that I did, because that let me know what not to do and everything. And so when I came to Tucson, I was very good at doing things. I was a wonderful smoker, because I got the 4 packs a day, and the thing is, that when I started communicating with Dr. Beck, he says, well, if you want to develop, smoking is you can't smoke. And so I went out and bought a carton of cigarettes. And then when I got to my last pack, I realized what I was doing. And I said, okay, you take the desire to smoke away, and I'll do it. And I haven't had the desire to smoke since May 15th, 1971. And so, but then I found out what other people didn't appreciate, that my clothes smelled like smoke, and my closet was smoke, and my fingers were yellow and everything. And so the color of my hands started to change, and I had to go and clean all my closet out and everything like this. And so then I found out too that by smoking for that many years and everything like this, that the lungs have a certain condition after doing that, and it takes 5 years to heal your lungs from smoking. And so I know my lungs appreciated what I did. And so I was able to breathe more, and I had more vitality and all this too, and so quite a few things started coming up, and I didn't think too much of myself back then and everything. And then as these memories started coming up here, I didn't think I had accomplished anything in my life and everything. But I really accomplished quite a bit. I got to be a very good drinker, a very good smoker, probably one of the best there is, everything like this, And if I can do that, I can also do the opposite of that. And then when I found out that I was born upside down and backwards, I didn't have any trouble doing backwards things and everything like this. And so, and when people were teaching me religion, I automatically went to a different concentration that they were trying to give across, and it seemed to work out better for me than what they were trying to get across to me. And what I appreciate now is that I was able to live my life upside down and backwards, and it didn't matter if other people agreed with it or not. As long as I agreed with it and I got some constructive results, then it was A-okay with me and everything. So with the memories that we have in our life, if you think you haven't had anything to be gratitude, but have gratitude, you're mistaken. Because each one of us have gratitude within us. We have the experiences within us. And I think one of the most satisfying things that I have, when people start arguing with me, my father told me one time, he said, don't be like me and argue. And so I took that to heart. When people started arguing with me, I would smile and say, well, thank you. And I wouldn't have to respond to them. And that made them more upset than they were before and everything. And so, well, I'm not upset because I accept what that person is. And acceptance is one of the things of acknowledging gratitude in your life. Because you have an abundance amount of experiences. And then I found out that there's other experiences that I'm able to go in contact with, and that's through past lives and everything. But then also I saw people being fanatical about it too, and I said, well, that's not the only thing going on and everything, but it helps. If you have a habit that you haven't created in this lifetime, you created it somewhere. And then if we have a feeling and sensation, an attitude or something, we don't know how we acquired that. It was done in another lifetime. And so as you appreciate yourself and accept yourself as you are, that opens up the memories of these experiences too. So you'll be able to account for the things that you're doing, And one of the most difficult things I found is that some of the things that I found that I did in other lifetimes, I wouldn't think of doing in this lifetime. So at first I would say, well, that's not me, because I haven't done this lifetime. But then I would be in my quiet time. I would be in places immediately doing those things that I said I wouldn't do and everything. And so I started working on the acceptance of myself and to change my attitudes toward myself. I don't change my attitude toward anyone, because basically everyone is me anyway. So if they come up there and I have an irritation with somebody, I turn it, well, that's my irritation. So I just concentrate on changing that attitude toward myself. And we do that with our thoughts, words, and actions. Actions is so important. I always remember this man who came to the chapel back in the mid-'80s and everything, said, well, I've been coming here for 2 or 3 months. I'm meditating, I'm saying affirmations and everything, but nothing's happening. I says, have you ever gone out and looked for something? He says, well, no. I said, well, action is important. And a week later, he come back and said, well, I got a job. Because he went out and started acting on that, And so it's one thing to be in the silence, but also when you're in the silence, it's time to go out and see what you've grown from that. And that's how we develop our appreciation for ourselves, is in the silence. And the ability to go into the silence is just a matter of controlling your breath, and also don't throw away things that come up that don't make any sense. Because you don't make much sense to other people sometimes, but the only person you're not making sense to is yourself. So have a condition that I am making sense to myself and I appreciate myself. That was one of the best lessons I ever learned when my first marriage was falling apart and everything like this. I didn't feel too good about myself. So, well, listen, I'm a big failure and all this, And I was going through some pictures and everything. I come through a picture where I in high school I got a reward, a trophy for being one of the things they give out and everything, and I felt that appreciation. And what I did with that, every goal I had, I felt that appreciation and I put it into that goal. And amazing thing happened. The goals started happening and I felt much more better about myself and everything. So appreciation, is we've all have accomplished something in our life. And it doesn't have to be changing the whole world. But when you change your world, you are changing the whole world. And when you change you also change the people, places, and things that you are associated with. And then as you move along upon your path, you'll find that some people will automatically just leave. And you won't see you'll see less of them. And I always I was concerned here at the chapel because people were coming and going, and my teacher said, well, you're doing your job. People aren't going to stay here all their life and everything. And when they get too big for the place, then it's time for them to settle their place and let them go and everything. And so it's worked out real good for me because I appreciate their abilities, and it also makes a more smoother transition too, to let people leave when they're ready to leave and everything. If they're not ready to leave, then they have to figure that out themselves, and they will figure that out themselves. But appreciation of yourself is a good way to ignite gratitude, for it will ignite the feelings and the experiences that you had to be gratitude about and everything. So that didn't sound too grammatically correct. I don't care. I got my point across and everything. So know that your appreciation of yourself will ignite memories that you have had that will allow you to be more appreciative of yourself. And I leave these words with you in blessing.